It was about August of last year. Typical for me, coming to an end of a long, hot summer, I had this idea. Really, I've always had a dream of traveling through the country on my mule, leading a pack mule. So I took off and drove out in my buggy to see if I could find the trail, and this is what I said.
I'd had this idea the other day. I read a lot. I mean, I got a lot of books and I read a lot, and I like to read stories about people going on adventures and stuff. And there's a book that I got, it's called 90 Days on Horseback. And these guys were riding from Mexico, trying to get to Canada. They didn't make it. Then there was this other book I read, it's called, forget what it's called, but they were riding the outlaw trail. So I got thinking, you know, riding the trail. We got a couple famous trails. This is just one of them. This is the Butterfield Trail. It's where the Butterfield stagecoach came out and went from back east, I'm not sure, but I'll put it right here, all the way to California. And they had these stage stops all the way through here. And I think in New Mexico, they had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 stage stops. And there's a man who wrote the book, Mr. Heckler, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'll put a link to it in the description down below. But he identified all these stage stops and the route of the Butterfield Trail. And the trail went through here about, I think it only went for like 3 or 4 years. But then lots of other people used the trail. I mean, what do you call them? Wagon trains. This was the southern route to California.
Now it's the spring 2023, and I want to try to do this. But before I take off, there's a few places I have to check to see if I can actually get through. So I took off for a 2-day adventure into eastern Arizona.
Just drove out of Hatch, down through Nutt, over to Deming. Now I'm on the interstate, I-10, on my way to Lordsburg, and then San Simon. It's a Saturday. It's kind of, let's see, it's 54 degrees and no wind today, and it's March. So any day in March in southern New Mexico and there's no wind, that's a holiday. You need to celebrate. Jump up and down, go outside, do something. So I'm doing something. Okay, I made it to San Simon, Arizona, which is where I will end my ride. But one thing I want to do is I'm going to have to find a place to park my truck, because what I want to do is I want to drive over here and have my wife follow me, park my truck somewhere, and then go home. And because I want to ride right out of my yard. And when I get here, I want to have some wheels so I can go. And this is kind of hard on me, because I'm not used to asking people for anything. But I guess I will. That was easy. Real nice guy. Talked to him for a while. We knew some of the same people. He said, no problem. You can just drop your truck off here when you want. And of course, he looked at me like I was crazy. So we talked about some of the access through the hills and different routes and what he knows about it. So that was real beneficial. Sometimes you just got to go talk. You just or go ask. So that was nice. San Simon's right there. That second set of trees right there is where I'm going to be able to park my truck. Real nice, man. There's a little dirt road comes up through here. It's not bad, and I could probably keep going with my pickup. But I figured I'd unload my buggy right here. And that's the Palancios, right up there. Now I'm not sure where. I got a mark on my Onyx, but that Butterfield Trail comes right through here somewhere. So that's what I gotta go. I'm gonna jump the buggy off the trailer there, and then put these dogs in the buggy and drive up through there and see what I can find. And then once I'm done that there, then I'll drive back to San Simon, put the buggy back on, drive back to San Simon, get on the interstate and go around and see if I can find a route going through there. It's going to take me a little while. So this is what I got to do, because I could just take off and kind of guess and do like they did back in the old days, and you know, that would probably make it a little more authentic, but I don't want to make my animals suffer. I want to make sure I have water and I can get to everywhere I need to get to make it easier on them, even if I have to deviate from the route. You know, I want to stay as true as I can to the trail, but if I have to deviate for water, then that's just something I have to do. I'd like to avoid riding down the side of the highway as much as possible. To me, that doesn't sound like fun at all, but oh well. What do you think, Sugar? Iris, you ready?
So I unloaded Babe and loaded the hounds up and took off. The main thing I was looking for is sources of water. And although I didn't go to exactly where I thought the trail went, I was close.
These are the kind of things I'm looking for right here. Water. So, it shows on the map, I think it's all screwed up. I think that Butterfield Trail, or the trail, comes right through there somewhere. Hey, get over here. At least I think that's where I'm going to come through at. Right through there. On the map, it shows it going through there. So I need to find, I'm going to drive up through here and look around, maybe see if I can find a 2-track road going up in there. If I can't, I'm going to go back, load the buggy up. I'm going to go to the other side of these mountains, which would be Steins. That peak right there they call Steins Peak. That's a beautiful day. Wouldn't it be neat if you found a lion track and those dogs started trailing right up through there? They call these mountains the Palencios. And there's bighorn sheep in these mountains. Warner Glenn has come in here and caught several lions. Walking in the steps of legends.
This was the only road I could find going up into the hills. It was further north than what the map showed the trail going through, but it showed a couple springs up there.
The swastika carved into his forehead. I saw the story we tell ourselves about the end of the 60s.
Way down there, San Simon. This is beautiful country in here. Really, really like it. I wonder if when I make the trip, this is going to be this will probably be like the last day or the day before the last day when I top over. And I wonder if I'm going to be too tired to appreciate how pretty the country is, or what that feeling is going to be like when you look and you think, there it is, I made it. I'm anxious to find out. Might as well exercise the dogs. There's supposed to be a spring down in the bottom of that canyon. Supposed to be a couple springs down there. There's water right here too. This is where the little 2-track road ends. I don't see if there's any trails leading out of here. There is water, a water tub right up there. That tank's full, and there's springs down in this bottom. So it shows that the Butterfield Trail is that way, about 4 or 5 miles, 3 or 4 miles, but on the other side. It's good to know there's water here, because within 4 or 5 miles you can always make it to there. So even if I had to cut across and come across the top and slide down the bottom into here, yeah, I'm glad I make this trip. This is beneficial. Now I got to load these dogs up. All right, let's head back to the truck. Now I got to head back over the mountain. Go to a place called Steins. It's a pretty cool place. Got a lot of old buildings and stuff. Drove by it a jillion times over since, well, first time I went to Tucson was in 1978. and it's I-10, you know, goes to Tucson. But I've never stopped there. It's one of those places I've always seen it off the side of the road. It looks really cool, but I've never stopped. This time I'm going to stop. Well, probably a good thing I never stopped. There's really nothing. They don't let you go over there. I thought it was always kind of a tourist thing, but it's all privately owned. They don't let you in there. Oh well. Maybe I'll find a newspaper article and I'll put it right here about Steins. Like if that train ever gets by here, I can go right across the railroad tracks right there. I can hit a road, kind of goes back to the right, and then out there, I don't know, a few miles, I'll hit the Butterfield Trail. So I can kind of get an idea what it looks like out there. Looks like a pretty good road. I might not have to unload the buggy. I might be able to do it all in the truck. We'll see. This train must be 5 miles long though. There's a lot of cattle out here, so there's water. I did see a dirt tank back there, and it's marked on the Onyx maps. The problem with dirt tanks is you don't know. Oh, here's a good dirt tank right here. Problem with dirt tanks is, I mean, it might be full now, but if you wait too long, it might be dry by the time you get through here. See what I mean? That thing's dry, but it looks like there's a water tank back up over there. There's cows everywhere. So there's got to be water close by. I think this is it. I think that's the trail. And that's up there. I think they call that Doubtful Canyon. Now, according to the Onyx map, I'm not quite to the trail, but it could be off a little bit. Lots of wide open nothing out there. This is where the trail goes through. There's a fence line goes right down through the middle of it. So I don't know. You just decide when you get here which side of the fence you need to be on and just stay on that side. I'm sure there's gates at some point along it. Just depends on how far you got to ride before you find one. That can always be a problem when you're tired. That'll be a good camping spot right here. The Butterfield Trail is just right there. And then there's a little old 2-track road goes right up into what they call Doubtful Canyon. And I seen just this road coming off a little bit. And dun 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 dun. Got a fire ring. And pile of firewood. That's just handy as a pocket on a shirt. I know there's water about 10 miles from here. It's 20 something miles across that flat right there to Lordsburg. I can do 30 miles, 40 miles without water, easy. So, but this is camp for the night. It's nice. right hat on now anyway. Well, I got it up. I'll put my bedding in it. It's got side windows, but I don't think I'm gonna set those up, because I'm gonna need to keep the heat in tonight. It's probably gonna be a little bit cold, probably down in the high 30s, low 40s. We'll see. I don't think I'm smart enough to use this ladder. This is the second time I broke it. I can't figure out how it's supposed to lock. I get some of them to lock and then others. So I'm gonna have to send away and buy a new ladder because I tore this one up. It's like a bull in a china closet sometimes. My dad used to say, it's like a bull in a china closet. What you don't tear up, you shit or poop on, excuse me. Anyway, this is just a big sleeping bag. It doesn't have that much warmth to it. Doesn't have that much warmth to it, but it's real roomy. So I got that. I've got this memory foam pad underneath, because there is a cushion in here, but it's just not quite enough for this old man. So I got this, and then I've got my pillow, got my pee bottles, which are really important, because you don't want to climb down this ladder in the middle of the night. It's no fun. And then I put these 2 wool blankets in here. They're just old Army surplus wool blankets I carry in this Aqua Quest bag. Forgot one thing. Got to put my pistola up there. Better safe than sorry, huh? Let's do it.
So that night I built a fire. I watched the sun go down over the Palencios. Threw a ribeye on the grill, made me something warm to drink, then climbed up in the bunk and went to bed.
It's only 30 degrees this morning, so it's a little cold. I just slept with my light sleeping bag, and then I pulled a wool blanket over me. I was a little cold, but not that cold. The cushion that I put in there, that memory foam, it made it comfortable. But yeah, I should have used my really warm sleeping bag. I got up this morning and used the old jet boil, made me some coffee.
I was too cold to turn on a camera. I thought it'd be warmer than this. I didn't think it'd get down to the below freezing last night, but it dang sure did. I'm just gonna sit by the fire and get warm now. Hey Siri, call Tammy Von Mobile on speaker.
Calling Von Tammy Mobile on speaker. Good morning.
Good morning. Man, that's a pretty sunrise. I kept adding wood to the fire, built it up, sat by it, and got warm, and thought about the trip. I know it's going to be close to 180 miles. I've got to schedule 8 days. I figure I can probably do it in 7, but to be safe, I'll schedule 8. And I need 8 days of decent weather. I can't have 40-mile-an-hour winds. Going across those wide open spaces would be miserable in high winds. But I think I can do it. Matter of fact, I know I can do it. I just gotta check out a few more places, a few more spots. Then, onward and upward. Good morning. If you're new here, my name's Brett. I got hounds and mules, and I ride around in the backcountry. This is summertime, and it is hot. I mean, I think today it's supposed to get up to about like 108 degrees, and that's hard on hounds and redheads. And I was in the office the other day, and I'd planned on going out and going up to the high country last week, and I didn't make it. I had some things come up and I couldn't go. Anyway, I was going through, I got these hard drives. See, years ago, I lived way up there in the mountains, off-grid, and my wife had always told me I should keep a diary because I would tell her these stories about what had happened, and I buy these little books, and I would write like 3 days in it, and I was too lazy to write. But I started carrying a camera with me, and I started videoing my trips, and it was more like a video diary. And a lot of it's, you know, just stuff that's really, honestly, pretty boring. But I found these videos of this trip that we had taken. I had a buddy of mine, Juan. He lives right down the road from me now, but he's always game for adventure. Matter of fact, he just called me to ask me about floating down the river because, years ago, me and my grandson, we got some kayaks and we took a 2-day trip down the river. Anyway,
he had called me. He said, hey, he said, let's go for a ride. He said, I need to get out for a while. And this was in the winter time. There was a little bit of snow on the ground. And he said, I got a friend of ours, son, that wants to go. And he was a young guy. And he had rode a little bit, but he never rode a whole lot. And he had never done anything like that. And matter of fact, Juan had just told me, just on the phone, we were talking about it. And he told me, he said, well, I told Travis, he said, you might like it, you might not like it, but I'll guarantee you'll never forget it. But anyway, the kid kind of reminded me of that movie, Open Range. The kid, they called him Button. Anyway, you know, and it was all new to him, and he was young. And of course, me and Juan, we've taken pack trips across the wilderness, you know, several of them by that time. So we were used to riding with each other and you know, being back and alone and in that backcountry with each other, you know. And anyway, we trailered, best I can remember, we trailered up to the pass, which is real high up on top. And we got ready to go and everything. And Travis was riding a little sorrel gelding at Juan's. And it's a horse that I roped on. He's a real gentle, real nice horse. Juan had packed him a few times going through the wilderness. And anyway, Travis was riding him, and man, it started out, it was beautiful. Everything was great. And of course, I had hound dogs with me. And we were going down through there, and I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I turned around and looked, and Travis ended up on top of this big old flat rock that was probably this high, and dropped off on the other side. And that sorrel gelding was just like a goat right on top of that rock. You know, and when you don't know any better, your first response when you get in a situation like that is grab hold of that horse, the reins, and that horse's head. And that's the worst thing you can do in that situation, because, you know, especially a horse that's real light and broke like that horse was, because you can just pull him off backwards off the rope or off the rock. And he was just pulling on him, and I hollered at him, let go of his head, let go, you know, drop the reins. And he did and got off of there. But I think after that, the kid became a little bit boogered, a little bit scared.
And John Pinkerton had a young mule that would buck.
Oh no.
So we had packed him, you know. And then John wanted to maybe take advantage of him while he was a little bit tired, you know. So we all drew straws to see who would ride him. And God damn if I didn't draw the short straw. Trying to ride that too.
Did he buck with you?
Yeah. They didn't buck very hard. And those guys are pretty careful. They kind of try to pull him up and then, you know, not them just busting too, you know.
Anyway, we rode up to the top and ended up on the very top. There's a fire lookout tower. Oh, yeah. Does it hurt your legs going down here?
I'm pretty tired from
riding?
Yeah, riding, walking.
Right down there at home. We got up in that fire lookout tower, and I noticed him. We got up there, he was kind of holding on pretty tight. You know, it's pretty high, it's not that high. And I said, are you scared of heights? And he said, yeah, a little bit. And I said, oh, okay. And we got down, the dogs got on a track, and they ended up high, and we went down low. I misread the GPS, and we ended up down that canyon. Juan had bad knees. We couldn't hike up there where the dogs were, and they're quite a ways away. We knew we were kind of running short on time. Have to send a copy of this to his dad, huh?
I know, huh?
And I remember telling the kid, I said, so you are scared of heights? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, that's probably a good thing that we're going to be riding out of here after dark, because it'll be too dark for you to see off the side of that trail, so you probably won't be that scared. Into the abyss.
Yeah, dark tonight.
Dad says darker than a well driller's asshole. Anyway, we got a little further down the canyon, and this is way down in a deep canyon, and we're trying to circle back and get to my camp. And I owned some property up there at that time, and it was off grid, and that's where I lived part time. And Juan came up and said, hey, he said,
he said Travis is sick at his stomach, and I think the nerves got to him, and he was throwing up, and I kind of felt bad. But anyway, we got down in the canyon, and it just ended up taking us way more time than we had planned. And, you know, downfall timber, the fire had gone through there, the trail was gone, so we just had to bushwhack all the way down until we hit the trail going out the top. And time we started going out the top, we seen a herd of elk, which is really cool. Anytime you can see wildlife like that, you know, it's a bonus, and it makes, to me at least, it makes the trip worthwhile. Oh, they got one horn dropped, huh?
Look at all this elk. Isn't that pretty?
Wow.
I can't believe that.
That's good, huh?
We almost didn't see them. They were coming right by us.
I know it.
How big and how quiet they are.
I went to see them. Cool. And we hit the trail, and the trail's it's not good. It's a scary old trail, but climbing out of the canyon, and but by the time we hit, it was dark. And we seen some eyes, which were coos deer on the side of the mountain as we were going out, which was cool. And shoot, I bet we didn't get back to camp until, I don't know, maybe midnight. And best we could figure, we probably rode 30 miles that day. And Juan, we stopped, and we were kind of cold. We got some hot coffee, and Juan, best I can remember, Juan took off. He kept going on the horse. He rode his horse and then led that sorrel horse. And me and Button, or Travis, we got in the buggy, my side-by-side. And oh yeah, that's right. And him and I drove all the way up to the top of the pass in the buggy, loaded my buggy up in Juan's trailer, and then drove his truck down and met him, and then they left. It was probably about a 20-hour day. But it's funny, you know, I pulled that video up, and I was going to try to share it, and I just had Juan call me right now on the phone, and we got to talking about that trip, and you know, like Juan said, he said, you know, he'll never forget it. And I was thinking, you know, you have a trip like that, you might not ever want to do it again, but man, it's a good story to tell your kids and your grandkids. And of course, me and Juan, we're kind of adventure type guys, and we do a lot of things like that. So it was I'm not going to say it was totally enjoyable trip, because it was a long ways in really, really rough country. But and since that time, me and Juan have done it again. We went one time. I'll put a link to that video right here. And we spent best I remember, we camped and spent the night that night. We divided it up into two. Instead of one 30-mile day and night, we made it a two-day trip where we did 15 miles and then another 15 miles. But anyway, getting ready, getting my stuff ready. Next week, I'm going to the high country. It's too hot down here for me, so I'm going to go up to the mountains. If they got some fires going up there, if the fires aren't, you know, keeping people out, I'm going to go up there. I got a couple locations I want to go to. Have you ever heard of Barrymore, the first grizzly man? That's where I'm going to go find his cave. And then also, I got another place, another bug out place, another location that I could go to, or, you know, kind of just that scenario if there was an economic collapse and stuff, that I could go to. And it's more remote, and I haven't never been there since I was a 12-year-old kid. But I remember my dad taking me in there a couple times. We'd pack in and we camped right there. Anyway, that's it, guys. Onward and upward. That is the watchword. Thanks, Jeff.
Hey guys, my name's Brett. This is my YouTube channel, Born 100 Years Too Late. Welcome. Today, I'm heading out here right behind the house. I took the dogs out, here a few days ago, just to exercise them. Come on, Bonnie. And, it brought back memories. I got back into this country that I went to back in the 80s. You see, look at that. Somebody lost a muffler. See, back then I had a big old gelding. Brown, I called him a brown gelding. I called him Huggy, was his name. Bonnie's got to lighten the load. Although I didn't have hounds at that time, I was always still trying to get out. And treasure hunting always kind of fascinated me. So I used to go up here and ride. And this, I'm talking about, this had to be about 83, 84, maybe 85, something like that. I'd found this book. It was called Treasure of the Sangre de Cristos. And a guy named Arthur Campo, something like that. He's the one who wrote it. And there was a story in there about a treasure. And it was supposed to be in these mountains up here. And they had like a waybill that they found up in Santa Fe that an outlaw, Pedro Navarez, had written to one of the priests up there or something. So, and I just almost totally forgot about it. So when I was out there riding, one of the points in the waybill was towards the rising sun. There's 3 peaks of about the same size. And in the morning, well, I'll read it to you so you guys can see. In Soledad Canyon, there's a natural cave on the brow of the hill opening toward the south. There's a cross cut into the rock above the entrance of the cave and directly in front of a young juniper tree. For better directions, there are 3 medium-sized peaks towards the rising sun, whose shadows converge in the morning 250 paces east of the cave's entrance and a little to the south. 250 paces from this point directly north, you will come to a promontory Aloma, from where by looking straight ahead you can see the Jornado del Muerto as far as the eye can see. The distance from this point back to the cave should be exactly the same as the distance to the place where the shadows converge. 100 paces from the entrance of the cave down to the nearby arroyo, and in line with the point of convergence, you will find a dripping spring. The entrance to the cave has been covered to a depth of a man's height, un estado, and 10 varas beyond the entrance of there is an adobe wall which must be taken down. At the bottom of the long tunnel, the cave separates into 2 parts. The left cave contains coin silver, more than 2 atajos can carry. The right cave contains golden chandeliers, urns, crucifixes, gold images of beaten gold. Anyway, thought I lost my pack mule. And there's a lot of little 4-wheeler roads all over this country up here, but I don't want to do that. I thought, where's the fun in that? I might as well ride my mules. And I can hit a lot more of these little canyons and stuff. You can't go everywhere in one of those 4-wheelers. So this morning, I just decided, man, I'll saddle up. I'll take a pack mule and old Clyde there, ride right out of the back of the place and head right up through this country. Got goobers in your eyes, sweetheart. to be hot today, so I brought extra water, something for the dogs. I don't know if there'll be any water up here for the mules or not, but they watered well this morning, and they'll water well this evening. That's all they need, guys. Promise you. Yeah, so I saddled up right there in the yard. Took my panniers, brought extra water. I didn't bring Fat Lori. I was afraid it might get too hot, and this is liable to be a long day. And if she got hot on a long day like this, she might just give out on me. She does have a weight problem. Of course, I brought my weapon. I never go anywhere without a weapon. So today, I'm going to mess around up here, ride around, see what I can find. See if I can find, I will bet you anything that there's been other people up here digging around. Maybe I can find some old mine shafts or some old diggings or something where they dug around looking for it. Just see what I can find. Do a little exploring. We're going to go right up through there. This fence runs into another cross fence, and there's a gate up there. I'm going to go through that gate, and then we go over through these little rock hills, and we drop into some pretty big old nice canyons back there. Whoop, I hear four-wheelers. I knew that was going to happen. I bumped into the people on the four-wheelers. They were really nice. I even talked them in to open the gate for me. Pretty rank-looking country. There's one of those peaks right there. We'll ride up to the top of that hill right there and take a look around. See if it lines up. I know the sun, that story about where the sun comes up and the shadows. Sun comes, different times of year, the sun comes up in different places. So I don't know. It's fun though. Oryx or deer right there. It's time for Bonnie to have spurs. Ride right out of the back of the house like that. It's hard. It's hard. There's those 3 peaks. 1, 2, 3. 3 peaks. So we'll ride right to the top of there and look down that other side. See what it looks like. If I can get these mules over here. I've never had these mules act like this. I'm having to pedal her every step of the way. And then when I kick her hard, Clyde sets back on the end of the rope. What do you reckon they mined out of here? Be a long ways to get anything out of here. But they did. Looks like. Nothing to see here. What? You see that hanging up there? Is that rabbits hanging up there? Why would they do that? There's the 3 peaks. 1, 2, 3. Right in a row and all about the same size. And this is where they were mining. I don't know. What do you think? Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. I guess this is how they loaded trucks or something right here, but that is a butchered oryx. Iris, stay out of there. Iris, no. Bonnie don't like it. I'm not going to get off here. There's nothing to see. I'm going to ride right down here around this corner. I seen a little deal on Google Earth, and I want to go see if I can find it. Suki! Suki! No! That's just weird. Big old nice lion track right there. I don't think he's very far away, honestly. Look at that dog. Good girl, good girl. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Good girl, good girl. I thought I seen his track going that way, but now I see it going back up this way. Wow. There's his track. There's his track. It's going out that way. Old rock structure right there. Oh, they had a well or something right there. Oh. I wonder what that was all about. It's a well, it's for water, but it's dry, but they build a retaining wall right there. You know, there used to be a spring here, I imagine. Let's go on down around the corner there. I'm gonna go right up through there and drop over and cut up. I'll bet you that's where that lion went. And it's starting to get late. I don't want to be back. I don't want to be riding back after dark. I circled around all the tops. Now I drop down in this other little arroyo, and I'm cutting back to where I started from. Man, it'd be hard. The only indication I could find of anybody digging or any mine shaft was right there on that, I call it a head frame. I think it's where they loaded trucks up or loaded something up from right there. And then the water down below, I seen some, what we call glory holes, where they just dig a little trench down so far looking for whatever they're looking for. I don't know much about minerals and geology and all that stuff. But then I did find a lion track. So I'm pretty sure I'll be back. And it was a fresh lion track. It was made last night. So who knows? Who knows for sure where he's at? But there's a bunch of game in here. There's a lot of those oryx in here. I see tracks everywhere. Look at that. I don't know. Just got to keep going. I found that track going back down this little canyon. We trailed backwards on it. The dogs opened up and they trailed real good going backwards. And when I say open up, I mean they were barking on the track, working it, but they were going backwards. I didn't have time to turn them around and figure out which way that lion went. Decided I better stop and water the dogs. They had gotten pretty hot. It was a hot day, but I decided I better go back the next morning. And although I love riding my mules, I decided I better just take the buggy because there's little 2-track roads all over this country. And I had an appointment, a doctor's appointment, the next day. So I knew I couldn't waste too much time because my wife threatened me with my life if I didn't get back in time. Also, it would have been the second time I had canceled the appointment.
Suki! 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 Go ahead and drink up. Okay. That'll get you guys home.
This video is going to be continued. I'm hooking it on back to the house. Today it was so dang hot. Got up to like 78 degrees. I'd like it a little cooler than that. But to be continued tomorrow. Onward and upward. Let's go home. Thought I'd come up here and just kind of walk around. Mules were terrible yesterday. I guess because I just rode right out of the house. But after seeing that lion track, I brought these male dogs up here, see if we could trail him out of here somewhere. And also kind of be here when the sun came up. To kind of see how, like I said before, the sun comes up in different positions on the horizon all the time. So, I don't know. It's a good story. I think they hit it. I don't know what's wrong with Timmy. I might have shocked him pretty hard on that Cavallina the other day and he got scared. Well, I gotta head back. I walked all around this country. Up through there and around everywhere. All around those hills and then back up in there. I couldn't find anything. Dogs trailed that lion. Trailed it backwards at first. And then they trailed out of here. And they were trailing back around this way. But, story of my life. I got an appointment at 1:30. I think my wife might just leave me if I don't get back for that appointment because it's the second time she scheduled it. I already broke the appointment one time, so I guess I better get home. It's getting hot already. We've got like a, what do they call it, an Indian summer. So, until next time, watch another one of these videos right here, and I promise I'll get more out. I got lots of places I want to go to. Time. Thought when I retired I'd have more time than ever. Oh well. It's necessary. This appointment's for my health. So I guess I better go.